Hello everyone, welcome to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 7th April 2025. Displayed here are the list of topics for the discussion. The first topic, from to polar orbiting mission. The second topic, BIMSTEC. The third topic, Jacaranda, Mimosifolia. And the fourth topic, F-16 fighting Falcon. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first article. SpaceX launches private astronaut crew in from to polar orbiting mission. The article is taken from The Hindu. Why it is in the news? Recently, the SpaceX company owned by Elon Musk sent a crew of 4 astronauts on a polar orbiting mission. The name of the mission is From2, and the mission objective is to orbit Earth from pole to pole or observe the polar region from the space. And why this name is given, or what is the history behind the name From2? Actually, this name From2 is a tribute to an Arctic expedition happened in the 20th century, and the ship used for the expedition is From, and it is a Norwegian ship. And who are the agencies involved in this From2 mission? The first is SpaceX company, they launched the crew. The next is American private space technology company, and the crew members are carried using the Falcon rocket. So please remember the name of this rocket. And so what makes this mission unique? So you have to remember that this is a first ever manned polar orbiting mission. This is a first ever manned polar orbiting mission, and this will orbit the Earth from pole to pole. That means like this. And here, so simply we can see the polar orbiting means the orbiting which is perpendicular to the equator. So in the usual case, the observation will be parallel to the equator, and that is known as equatorial orbiting. And here this From2 mission is a polar orbiting mission, therefore it will observe the Earth from pole to pole like this. So remember. And what are the objectives of this mission? First is polar studies, means observing and studying the polar region from the space. And the next is X-ray in the space. So this mission will take the first ever X-ray of human in the space, and this will help us to understand how the microgravity in the space is affecting the bone and the muscles in a human body. And the next is exercise studies, which means the crew will focus on certain exercises which will help the crew members to maintain their muscle mass and their body strength. We know that our body will experience a lot of changes when the people spend more time in the space. So recently we know what happened to Sunita Williams and her crew, right? And the next objective of the mission is to growing mushrooms in the microgravity. So this is another steps to understand how to ensure the food security in the space mission. So this, if we can produce a quantity of food in the space, then definitely this will help us to go for long duration space missions to moon or to other planets like Mars and all. So that's why the one of the objectives of the crew is to growing mushrooms in the microgravity. And why they are used mushrooms? Because mushrooms requires only very less resource, which means it needs only less amount of water or sunlight. So that's why they used the mushroom. And this is also rich in vitamins like vitamin D, and also rich in protein, so which is very essential for the bone and muscles, right? So that's why the crew members used mushrooms particularly. So in this topic we discussed what is From2 and what is the history behind the name From2, and what are the objectives of this mission, and what is the nature of this mission, who are the agencies involved in this mission, and what for rocket is used for launching the mission. So with this, we will discuss a prelims practice question. So the question is, the From2 mission is carried by which combination of launch vehicle and capsule? Option A, Blue Origin rocket and New Shepard capsule. Option B, Falcon rocket and New Dragon capsule. Option D, GSLV rocket and Gaganyaan capsule. And option D, Soyuz rocket and Soyuz capsule. So the correct answer is option B, rocket, that is Falcon rocket and Crew Dragon capsule. So with this, we will move to the next article. Prime Minister Modi arrives in Thailand to attend BIMSTEC summit. The article is taken from The Hindu. Why it is in the news? Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 6th BIMSTEC summit in Thailand, and this is expected to renew a better push for regional cooperation and integration. So in this context, we will be discussing BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. So it is an association of countries lying adjacent to the Bay of Bengal. So, and this region is very important, in the past as well as in the present times as well. So if you look into the past, you can see the countries in the BIMSTEC are ruled by colonial powers, exploited by colonial powers before the decolonization. And you can see that even after the independence, the countries, including India, has a lot of challenges, economic challenges, political challenges. For example, recently the Myanmar, they suffered a catastrophic earthquake which claimed 3,000 plus innocent lives. And we know that to support Myanmar, India launched Operation Brahma. Operation Brahma to bring humanitarian assistance and aid to the people in Myanmar. And Myanmar is also going through a political crisis since 2021. We know that the junta took the control of the country, right? And if you come to the case of Bangladesh as well, you can see that they have their own internal political crisis. And recently, the most expected meeting, everyone was waiting for one meeting in the BIMSTEC summit. That was the meeting between the Muhammad Yunus, the chief advisor of the Bangladesh government, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And at the same time, the meeting between the India and Myanmar was also, was everyone's waiting list. And you can see that other countries, even Thailand, also has their own economical problems. And Sri Lanka, they also recently suffered, a political and economic crisis. So in this case, the BIMSTEC holds a very important role in, ensuring stability and, working for a better prosperity in the region through better regional cooperation and integration. And coming to the UPSC relevance of this topic, you can see that in the prelims you can expect questions related to the regional associations and international summits under the topic current events of international importance. And the mains also, this topic is relevant in the GS paper 2 under the topic regional grouping. We know that we have a lot of regional grouping like BIMSTEC, we have SAARC, we have ASEAN and all. So go through all of this. So coming to the BIMSTEC, that is, like I mentioned in the beginning, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, which is established in June 1997 through Bangkok Declaration. And like I mentioned before, it is a grouping of countries lying adjacent to the Bay of Bengal, right? And you can see that the secretariat of this BIMSTEC is located in Dhaka in Bangladesh. And the founding members are Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka and Thailand. And in the beginning, it was known as BISTEC, that is Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation. But in the year 1997, Myanmar also became a member of BIMSTEC, and later Bhutan and Nepal also joined the grouping. And recently, the Nepal is also going through a political crisis between the the democratic grouping and the pro-royalist grouping. And current members countries in this BIMSTEC are Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan, and Nepal. So what are the key objective and the principle? The first is accelerating economic growth and social progression. Like I mentioned, the countries in this region has its own economic and political challenges. And if you take this region, the BIMSTEC countries, you can see that it is holding nearly 22% of the global population. That is around 1.8 billion people. And so therefore, this region has a huge economic as well as political importance. And the next is promoting collaboration in economic, social, scientific and technical field is another objective of the BIMSTEC. And the next is providing training and research support in education, professional and development. So recently we know that, like I mentioned in the beginning, the Myanmar incident, the Myanmar and Thailand faced an earthquake, and India launched Operation Brahma to provide humanitarian support to the Myanmar. And what are the principles of this association? The first is sovereign equality, and the next is territorial integrity. That means no country the measures or the policies of one country should not affect the sovereignty of another country. That means every member in the BIMSTEC has their own sovereign equality. And the next is territorial integrity. That means here also every country should frame policy, but that should not affect the territorial integrity of another nation. And non-interference in the internal affairs. So a country should not directly or indirectly interfere in the internal affairs of another country. For example, recently in the Bangladesh crisis happened, the political crisis happened. India did not interfere, but in the case of the earthquake, we provided humanitarian support. And the next is peaceful coexistence and mutual benefit. That means working together for better development and progress. So here you can see the priority sectors of the BIMSTEC. The first is ensuring better trade and bringing more investment, developing transport and communication. For example, in the recent times, we know that we are taking a lot of initiatives for ensuring better logistics in the northeastern region of India. For that, we need support from Bangladesh. And the next is counter terrorism and transnational crime. We know that organ trafficking, trafficking of the parts of wild animals are happening in this region. So for that, we need a collaboration among the states to take a collective action. And the next is environment and disaster management. Like I mentioned, the earthquake in the Thailand and Myanmar is an example. And the environment, that means every country should take measures to protect the biozones in their region. For example, the Sundarbans is a highly sensitive region in the eastern part of India. So for that, we need support from Bangladesh as well. And the next is of other sectors include sectors of priority includes fisheries, energy, tourism, technology, agriculture, health, poverty elevation, etc. So in this topic, we discussed what is BIMSTEC and who are the members in the BIMSTEC, what is the objectives and what are the principles upheld by the BIMSTEC. So based on our discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, BIMSTEC is primarily aimed at option A, military cooperation, regional, option B, regional economic and technical cooperation, option C, cultural preservation, and option D, language standardization. See, if you take that, you can see that culture preservation is an objective of BIMSTEC, language standardization is not, military cooperation is not a primary objective. So the question is, what is the primary objective of BIMSTEC? Therefore, the answer is ensuring regional cooperation and economic support. So therefore, the answer is option B. Yes, the correct answer is option. So with this, we will move to the next article. Jacaranda trees in full bloom at Munnar hill station. The article is taken from the Hindu. So Jacaranda Mimosifolia, it's a deciduous type of tree which is mostly found in the subtropical regions of this world. And now they are in full bloom in Munnar hill station in Kerala, and this bloom usually happens between the period of February and April in a year. And now it is attracting a lot of tourists to this region. And coming to the UPSC relevance of this topic, you can see that you can expect questions related to the species of animals and plants in prelims under the topic environmental ecology and climate change. And in mains also, this topic is relevant in the GS paper 3 under the topic biodiversity, environment and conservation. So coming to the botanical and geographic information about the Jacaranda Mimosifolia, you can see that the common name is Neelavaga, which is in Kerala it is known as Neelavaga, and it belongs to the family that is Bigananaceae, and the type is deciduous type of tree, which means it will shed its leaf in a particular period of the year to ensure better survival. And it is native to the central South American regions and also to the Caribbean regions, but later it was introduced in India by the British rulers. And coming to the IUCN's conservation status, it is currently considered as vulnerable. And here you can see the leaf of this Jacaranda Mimosifolia. You can see it is oppositely arranged, and this is how the tree will look like during the time of its bloom. So coming to the distribution of the Jacaranda Mimosifolia, you can see that in Munnar also it is found in other regions like Bangalore, Delhi, and usually it is a common sight in urban parks and roads. Coming to the ecological characteristics of this Jacaranda Mimosifolia, you can see the flowers of this tree. It is in lavender or blue violet color, and it usually blooms during the time of February and April. And the leaves, they are oppositely arranged, like we've seen here. It is oppositely arranged. And the next feature, the unique, maybe we can say a unique feature of this tree is the ability to emit ultraviolet rays to attract pollinators. But once the pollination happens, the bluish color of the tree will fade away. And coming to the ecological important and the uses, it will attract the pollinators such as hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies using the ultraviolet rays. And the wood of this tree is used for making guitar, and the bark and the roots have a medicinal value. So what are the recent concerns about the Jacaranda Mimosifolia? The climate change, that means early blooming is observed in the recent times. So we know that everything should happen in a perfect time, then only the ecosystem will go in a balance. For example, if for example imagine that the apple ripes, harvesting happens 2 months before, then definitely that will affect the bee population. So can you imagine? So the ecosystem is that much connected and that much sensitive. That means if there is a decline, or if there is a decline of the apple population, then that will result into colony collapse disorder. That means disappearance of the bees, which will ultimately affect the food chain of humans too. So imagine the ecosystem is that much sensitive, and it can be affected if there is no perfect timing, or if there is any decline of a key species of plants or animals. So therefore, because of this climate change, the early blooming of this Jacaranda Mimosifolia is observed these days. And the next is the invasive potential. That means we know that this is native to the South American and Central American and Caribbean regions. Therefore, it is non-native to India. So there is a potential that it may disrupt the ecosystem in the coming days. So these are the concerns associated with the Jacaranda Mimosifolia. So in this topic, we discussed Jacaranda Mimosifolia, a deciduous type of tree which is usually found in the region of subtropical parts of this world, and it is non-native to India, and it is introduced by British people. We discussed what is its ecological characteristics. Ecological characteristics means that the flowers, it has, it is lavender or bluish color, and it has the ability to emit the ultraviolet rays, which makes it unique. And once the pollination happens, the color will fade away. And then we discuss the medicinal value, the how everything related to the commercial value about this Jacaranda Mimosifolia. So based on our discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, lavender flowers of Jacaranda attract pollinators using option A is scent, option B nectar, option C UV radiation, and option D heat emission. So the correct answer is option C, ultraviolet radiation. So they will emit, this makes the tree unique, they will emit the ultraviolet radiation to attract the pollinators. Once the pollination happens, the color of the tree itself will fade away. So with this, we will move to the next article. Philippines assures China potential F-16 purchase not intended to harm any nation. The article is taken from The Hindu. So why it is in the news? Recently, the United States approved a sale of 20 F-16 fighter aircraft to Philippines, and this deal is coming around a value of nearly $5.58 billion. And the name of the aircraft is F-16 Fighting Falcon. So let us begin our discussion about the F-16 Fighting Falcon. And before that, we have to see the UPSC relevance of this topic. In UPSC, in prelims, you can expect questions related to the international agreements, the exchange of weapons and all under the topic current events of international importance. And then the mains also, you can expect questions related to this in the international relations and under the topic bilateral agreements. So let us begin our discussion about the F-16 Fighting Falcon. So the F-16 Fighting Falcon, it is popularly known as Fighting Falcon, but within the US defense, it has another name, that is Viper. So going back to the origin of this Fighting Falcon, you can see that originally it was manufactured by General Dynamics, an aerospace company in USA for the United States Air Force in the 1970s. But another company involved in defense manufacturing, that is the Lockheed Martin, and both this, the General Dynamics and the Lockheed Martin, both are very popular defense and aerospace industries in the United States. But in the year 1993, they both made an agreement. As per this agreement, the General Dynamics sold their aircraft manufacturing unit to Lockheed Martin. So currently this manufacturing is undertaken by the Lockheed Martin, but originally the F-16 Fighting Falcon was developed by the General Dynamics for the United States Air Force in the 1970s. So what are the features of this Fighting Falcon? First is high maneuverability, which means maneuverability means it has an ability to move an object which is already in motion. And therefore, in the case of aircraft, it is very essential because dodging the incoming is very important. So therefore, high maneuverability is one of the important features of this Fighting Falcon. And the next is frameless bubble canopy for superior visibility. So here you can see this is known as bubble canopy, and it is nearly frameless. Therefore, it provides more visibility to the fighter man inside the craft. And the next is side stick control for precision flight. And another feature is fly-by-wiring control system for responsive handling. So what is this fly-by-wire control system? It is actually a computer controlled system, and here the inputs or the instructions from the fighter man will converted into electronic signal by the computer inside the fighter jet, and then the fighter jet will move according to the directions given by the instructions given by the fighter man. And what are the benefits of this fly-by-wire system? So first is it helps it reduces the mechanical failure, and the next is it helps in precision flighting, and it also enhances the ability to dodge the incoming threats. And coming to the performance of this F-16 Fighting Falcon, you can see that the maximum speed can be attained by the Fighting Falcon is over 2 Mach, that is approximately 2,470 kilometers per hour. So here you can see the picture of F-16. So pause the video and go through the parts of this F-16. And the next is weapons inside the F-16 fighter jet. The first is air-to-air missiles, which for example the AIM-9 Sidewinder, and it also consists of air-to-surface missile like JDAM and PAVE bombs. And also it also has an internal gun called the M61 Vulcan, a 20 mm rotary cannon. So coming to the operational capabilities of this Falcon, you can see that it can play multi-role. That means because of this computerized system, because of this high maneuverability, it can enhance its air superiority over the enemy. And the next is it can be used for ground attack and electronic warfare. And the next is avionics. That means this fighter jet is equipped with the APJ-83 radar, digital flighting system, and advanced targeting system. And extended range of this, the aircraft make it more unique. For example, it supports aerial refueling system. That means the refueling can be done in the air itself. Therefore, the aircraft can go for a long fight. So these are the major features of the Falcon fighter aircraft. So coming to the India status, India does not operate any F-16. But recently, we know that during the Trump-Modi summit, we discussed a potential sale of F-16 fighter jets to India, but currently we are not operating any F-16. And instead of that, we have alternatives like Tejas, Rafale from France, Mirage 20, MiG-29, and Su-30 MKI. So all this Mirage, MiG, and Su-30, all this we purchased from Russia, Rafale from France, and Tejas we developed. So these are the status of Indian aircraft. So in this topic, we discussed the Falcon fighter jet or fighter aircraft. So based on our discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, the maximum speed of F-16 fighting Falcon exceeds option A Mach 1, option B Mach 2, option C Mach 3, and option D Mach 4. The correct answer is option B, Mach 2. That means it can go up to 2,400 km per hour. So the correct answer is option B. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's newspaper analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.